to Jake Jackets. Gear up to fire the cannon and hit the ice with your host, Jay Ashdown and Jake Gehringer.
Work on my driver.
Yeah.
Last night I'm laying in the driver at like 1 a.m. and I'm just, oh my god, my entire body's like it's freaking
Yeah, I didn't. I think I went to bed at like 1:30 and I woke up exactly 6 hours later. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Anyway. Oh man. We only had one game, eh? That was
only one game. Makes it easier to do coverage, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes it easier to do coverage, makes it easier to do Kepis.
Yeah.
Makes it a little harder to do Kepis, if I'm being honest.
I don't think it does because we only have one game and it's pretty obvious. I mean, we're both gonna pick the same player.
Well, okay. You go ahead because I don't think we're gonna pick the same guy. I had another guy in mind.
So you're not gonna pick the guy who had a hat trick and an assist?
The hat trick, the assist, the game winner in overtime. I don't think so because I know
it seems like a very strange decision on your end. I'm not going to lie to you.
You think so?
Yeah, no, it's Jack Roslovic. It has to be. He was unbelievable. And we talked about this all season long. Have we not? This guy scores in bunches. He will go,
you have.
He will be silent. You will not hear from him. And then he puts one in. You can almost guarantee you he's going to get another one that same game. Right. This time he got 3. He got a hat trick. He was unbelievable. He was everywhere. He scored the early goal. I think that was to make it 1-0 Columbus, if I'm not mistaken.
Let me look. Let me actually pull this up.
Because I know he scored the 3rd goal and then obviously the game winner.
Yes, he scored first. And then it was Vrana. How good has Jake Vrana been for Detroit, by the way?
He's unbelievable.
Oh, my God.
He, now that he's healthy, God, I can't help but feel like they just absolutely smoked that Anthony Mantha trade out of the water. That's just another example of Steve Yzerman being Steve Yzerman, isn't it?
Blue Jackets legend Sam Gagner made it 2-1 Detroit.
I saw that. I'm happy for him. He's having a pretty good season with Detroit.
Yeah, he is.
Double digits in goals. Still has a pretty good defensive impact. Good for the bottom 6. No, I like him. I'm glad that he's doing well in Detroit.
From Stahl and Stevens.
Yeah.
But before I get into the rest of these, I just wanted to shout those guys out real quick. Because Jack scored the first goal. He scored 2, 3, 4, 5th. And obviously the 9th and winning one.
Yes.
Like just in the overall goal scoring of the game.
Mm-hmm.
My Kepi's gonna go to not big JD, little JD. Yep.
Yeah, no, I had a feeling that's who you were gonna pick.
How'd you know?
Well, because we've been talking about him, and he's been playing well lately.
He's been playing really well, and the biggest reason, so I was reading the SPO notes or whatever, Jeff Spavota's article, regular column, about Danforth, and he's like, he's another one of these late blooming rookies, 28 years old, coming into his own.
Call him a rookie, even though he is one.
Exactly right. And he really came into his own this year, especially on a 4th line role where, he's got 9 goals in 36 games. He's got 4 in his last 6.
Mm-hmm. He's just getting to the areas that he needs to get to. He's not a guy who's typically going to beat you with a heavy shots or, amazing moves, but he's a right place, right time kind of guy, both offensively and especially defensively, because his defensive impacts are phenomenal, especially in the 4th line. He brings everything that you want to the table for a 4th line guy, and it's part of why they extended him. And I'm really happy the rate that they extended him at.
2 years. I'm fine with
a
it.
2-year deal. They didn't not even $1 million.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a really freaking good piece of work from Yarmo.
And the other thing I wanted to mention just from Jeff's piece is Pascal Vincent, the assistant coach who was head coach for a game or two with with Lars out with COVID. He coached some guy with international competition, some kid named Sidney, who happened to really like Justin Danforth's game.
Yeah, I saw that too. I thought that was really interesting because Sid's always had a great eye for talent, even if it's just bottom six guys or lower end defensemen. Like,
I mean, think about what he did. Think about what Sidney Crosby's done with just literally any winger he's had, with Zach Aston Reese, with
I mean, the two guys I think of the
Rodriguez.
Evan Rodriguez, and this is you're speaking of the guys that he's done this with lately. Rodriguez undrafted, Chris Kunitz undrafted.
Kunitz, Dupuis. We mentioned Dupuis.
Undrafted. Yep. He's done a lot of really good work with players who he sees something in them. There's an underrated trait, underrated quality here, and I'm going to grow their game in this way, and I'm going to make sure what they're good at is at the top level. And it's unbelievable the work he does. Because it's the old Mark Donk and Buzz
Flibbit argument, right? Yeah,
it's hilarious, but it's kind of true. You can put just about any player in the National Hockey League on a line with Sidney Crosby, and he'll bring out the best in them. It's not going to make them 100% superstars, but he can make a lot of players, even if they're not, look like top 6 forwards.
But then you also have, the players that are like Dupuis and now like Rodriguez and like our buddy Jake Gensel, who once they've done that for a while,
they can do it on their own.
They can do it with anybody.
Yeah, Jake Gensel doesn't need to play with Sidney Crosby to be able to do it.
Evan doesn't need to play with Sid anymore to do it.
We need to see a little bit more, I think, from Evan Rodriguez.
I mean, he doesn't really need to with Sid anymore.
I think so.
But getting away from the point, Sid had a lot of praise for the way Justin Danforth plays, and I really thought that is something. When Sidney Crosby is complimenting an opponent's game, especially a lower end opponent's game, that's I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And that's definitely really just the hard work that Danforth puts in anywhere. Justin deserves it. And he scored.
100%.
So recapping the Detroit game, this is one, these are always fun, especially now with Z and Larks, right?
Yeah, and now we're gonna have Ken Johnson for future games in the mix of that, and hopefully Blankenburg for a while.
Hopefully for a while. We can talk about those guys here in a second.
Of course.
One thing that kind of stuck out to me about this game, obviously the hat trick was the hat trick. Guys like Gus, Z, all over the ice as well. Line getting an assist on one of Jack's goals. It's all usual suspects, right?
Yes.
Coming from our end, right? One thing that really kind of stuck out to me was the amount of discipline that this team had this game in particular. Because usually games against Detroit, because of the geographic rivalry and obviously thinking about OSU Michigan in one way or another, these games can get really, really chippy.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, on Detroit's end, it was absolutely chippy. They had 5 penalties to Columbus's 1.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they didn't really do
Power
much with
plays.
the power plays. They went 0 for 5.
Literally, all the PKs were fantastic, apparently.
Yeah. But like you said, like even going 0 for 5, I mean, here's the thing. Here's your silver lining.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't give up a shorthanded goal. Okay.
Right, that too.
So, like, really, at the end of the day, that's 5 power plays. What is that? Like 10 minutes of just you're not giving up a goal.
Right.
Um. Obviously, we mentioned we talked about how good Danforth and obviously Roslovic were in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Cole Sillinger,
Heating
he
back up.
scored his 12th of the year. Good bounce out in front.
Mm-hmm.
Had a chance wide open, and he didn't make any mistake. Good
Zach's
shot.
got Zach with 36 assists already now.
Mm-hmm.
Because he had a couple.
And he was hurt. He had 3 in that game, and remember, God, this dude was hurt for a little bit. It's crazy, man. I mean, he's played 64 games this season. We have 9 games left in the season, so he could play a total of 73, assuming he doesn't miss any more time. It's his best season, no doubt about it.
Jake's chasing Patty down for points.
Yeah,
I'm just looking at this right now.
The assists.
I'm just looking at this now, and Patty's got 53, Jake's got 52
on 5 goals.
5 goals, and then Oliver's got 50.
Yeah. And obviously, Boone's been out for a little bit, so that's caused him to slip a little bit. But how about Gus Nyquist there, 5?
Oh yeah, Gus. We talked about Gus a lot earlier, and we've given him plenty of praise, especially because this is, he didn't play at all last year.
Yeah. And I think it's an interesting conversation, and we'll talk about this later at some point. Whether
another reunion in Detroit, and he decides to, we figured he was going to bring it.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is the only other team other than the Sharks, right? This is the only other team he's really known.
Yeah.
So you would hope he would bring it against the team that drafted him, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pleased with this team, where this team is at right now. There's a lot to be happy about, all things considered.
Still exactly where you want them to finish, a game above 500.
Here's the thing, man. They've had some dips lately, but they've never once dipped below 500.
No,
every time that they've been in jeopardy of going below 500, they've pulled out a win to keep the number. And here's the thing, Jake. In the grand scheme of things, how important is it that they finish over 500? Like what does that do long term? Is it that significant? Not really.
Not really.
It's just the sense of finishing over 500 is a good feeling if you're a team that wasn't expected to make the playoffs and you didn't. It's the next best thing, because we talk about culture and everything like that. I know that there are teams out there that they need talent. I get it. They're rebuilding, retooling, whatever you want to call it. You want a good draft pick to get.
I think this confirms that this is more of a retool than it is a rebuild for Columbus.
And I would agree with that. I think, and this is just my personal opinion, especially for hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Great draft picks are always nice, but it doesn't always translate to immediate success.
Top draft picks are always nice, and we'll get to the reason why I'm wearing this.
And of course,
a little bit too.
You look at a team. We talked all the time about Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo's had a lot of top draft picks.
Darlene, Owen.
And I'm more so just going with the fact that they haven't had success. So I was more so going with, Reinhart,
Jack,
Ristolainen,
mm-hmm.
Alex Nylander.
Right.
So they had a lot of high draft picks, but they didn't really go anywhere. It's not necessarily about just always getting the talent. you got to have a culture.
You got to have a culture. You got to develop your players right.
Mm-hmm. And I think that that's more so where I'm happy with this team, because you can see there's a lot of development going on with Cole Sillinger. You gave the opportunity for Kent Johnson to continue his development with one of the best universities in all of college hockey as far as, developing talent. You saw it with your top defenseman.
Yep.
In Zach Werenski. You've seen it with a lot of other really great players who went to Michigan. So
seen it with guys that just passed through. Like we mentioned JJ last show. We mentioned a lot of alumni. Kyle
Connor, who we forgot to
Trebek.
mention in that?
Who?
When I rewatched it. Just totally forgot to mention Quinn Hughes.
Oh, that's right. I forgot Quinn went too.
Yeah, because we were so focused on other guys like Kyle Connor too. And so many other great players. I'm not going to rename them, but like I said, there's a lot to be happy about. I'm much happier with where we're at in this position than some of the teams that are going to get a really elite player. Someone is going to get lucky, Jake. Someone's going to get Shane Wright.
Someone's going to get Connor Bedard.
Yes. And even just the like this draft,
someone's gonna get Mishkov,
but culture is more important in my opinion than just elite talent, and we've got that, so we can add to it by hopefully getting
it's a good I think another one of those prime examples of just making sure you build a culture first comes from places like Pittsburgh, like Vancouver.
Pittsburgh, especially because, they got the elite talent. Everybody talks about you got Fleury number 1 and Malkin number 2 and then Crosby number 1 and then Stahl number 2.
Yeah.
But it's the other things that they did. They were bad for a couple of years, but they still had a decent culture around the team because of someone like Mario Lemieux.
Right.
And they drafted well outside of that. They grabbed, Chris Letang in the second round, developed him. Other guys, they made smart trades. They got Chris Kunitz. They got Pascal Dupuis. They
got Phil Kessel. They got Nick Bonino.
Yes, exactly. There's
the whole HBK line was all traded.
That went in, and they got Sergei Gonchar.
Gonchar too for the 09. Yep.
Vologoski. Made a lot of really smart moves. That's how you do it. But it's not just getting the elite talent, because frankly, you can have elite talent and not do shit. Look at the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah.
I think that's a prime example. They've got the talent, but what you do outside of your top 2 players is absurdly important. And the Penguins got it right they obviously got it right with Malkin and Crosby, but they got it right outside of Malkin and Crosby.
Supporting cast plays so much more of a role in playoff runs than people give any credit for.
100%. Absolutely. And I think that there is a foundation, there's a culture, and I don't know how long this is going to take, Jake, but I feel comfortable today.
I think with Columbus, we're rounding out who the core should be. It should be Elvis Merzlikins, Zach Werenski, Patrick Laine, Cole Sillinger, guys like that.
Yeah.
Now,
there's questions, I think, this season around Elvis.
A couple. I mean, it's been a down year for, defense and goaltending with this
exactly.
team.
And that's part of the equation. It's no doubt about it, been the worst season defensively for Columbus in a really, really long time.
But we know that this is where we've got the core to build around. Now we just need the supporting cast.
Yeah, and it's also just about developing those guys. Boone Jenner's your captain, and you've got him locked up.
Yep.
Oliver Bjorkstrand's a great player. You got him locked up. You got to get Patrick. You got to make a decision on Patrick Laine.
You got to get your superstar. Yep.
I would keep him. Depends on the rate. That's Yarmo's job. He's got to figure out. Zach Werenski, you've got him locked up. There's questions around Elvis, but you've got him locked up. And, it's been a down year defensively, as you mentioned, 100% true. There's been good seasons in the past from him. So, we're going to have a lot of those questions, I think, answered next year.
Little bit of supporting cast with guys like Jake Voracek are here for a while.
Yeah, Voracek is going to be here for the next couple of years, but then also just the kids.
The kids, absolutely.
Cole
Silver, dude, we're
Yegor Chinnikov, and then other guys that are going to come in. Kirill Marchenko,
Dmitry Voronkov.
Voronkov could come here soon. Stanislav Svozil, Samuel Nazco,
Guillaume Richard.
Yeah, Guillaume Richard, Corson Coleman's in the next couple of years. I mean, Jake, feeling pretty damn good about that.
The pool is pretty filled up, and I like that.
Mm-hmm. And we didn't even mention Daniil Tarasov too.
And Tara, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, this just makes me laugh because we literally just talked about him a couple of days ago. The dude that came with Kent, Nick Blankenburg.
Yeah.
What do you do with him?
I'm not sure, what their long-term plans are with him. If he's part of it, I'll be pretty happy with that because I like that kid. There's something about him. He was the captain of the team.
You read the notes
about him that made those players say, "This is the guy we trust."
You see the notes from their practice yesterday, and he was all in. He wants to prove that he wants to be here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I said, man, I mean, you think about it. You had Owen Power, Luke Hughes, Kent Johnson,
Eric Portillo,
Brendan Brisson, Johnny Beecher. Nick Blankenburg was the captain.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say there's an element there as far as personality is concerned that I like him. There's an X factor as far as his personality is concerned.
Good leadership quality to him. Yeah.
Hopefully he can prove it on the ice at a National Hockey League level. But just for the room, I love it.
And we may get to see those two kids tomorrow against Montreal.
Well, I might be able to get to see the highlights. I'll be on a flight to Vegas. So.
Oh, that's right. So yeah, we're not going to have a show on Saturday. Everybody enjoy your Easter, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you that celebrate, at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're not going to have a show on Saturday. We're going to take a week off for the holiday and come back with a bigger show.
Mm-hmm.
Game's pretty much recapped. I want to talk about Elvis because I saw this article and he basically may play everything to finish out the season.
Which is not what we wanted because we wanted a chance to see Berube, which I honestly, Jake, I think that kind of tells us what they feel about Berube.
Yeah.
I think they like him as, a minor league goalie. I think that they like him in the role
as a stopgap and a mentor. Yeah.
You're playing, you're helping out our goaltenders in the minor leagues. You're playing with Cleveland. And if we have to rely on you for 4 or 5 games, we have no problem with that. But I don't think they view him as a backup goaltender.
So basically, he's the new Brad Thiessen.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. Brad Thiessen's a pretty good minor league goalie. And guys,
there's a reason why he's a coach over there now too.
Exactly, 100%. So I don't, if that's the case, then I'm fine with it. I like the guy, and I'm wishing him luck in that role if he decides to continue forward with this organization in that role.
Yep.
But for Elvis, so he's played 51 games this season. If he plays the rest, he'll obviously finish with 60. My thought process here is this is the Columbus Blue Jackets trying to see if he can handle
the full starter workload. Yeah.
Because we haven't gotten the chance to see that because remember, it was Korpisalo who's the starter in the 1920 season.
Yep.
And he got hurt, and then Elvis had to be the starter moving forward, but then COVID happened. So Elvis didn't play a ton in his rookie season. And then last year, obviously, was cut short from the get-go, and he was still splitting time with Jonas. Now, they made him the starter this year.
That was more of a 50-50 split because the schedule was so much shorter, too.
100%, yeah. So this is their way of seeing, we've given this guy money. We believe that he can be that guy. Now we need to see if he can do it consistently over the bulk of a schedule. Can we rely on this guy to start 55 to 60 games a year?
You mentioned, repeatedly over and over, you need 5 of 6. You need the next 5 of 6. You need this 5 of 6. You need to, stretches and stretches.
Stretches, yeah. And that's going to be a good opportunity to see it, because here's the thing I'll say about Elvis. The interesting thing with him, we talk about how the defense is down this year, like significantly down. Like, Jake, as far as team defense is concerned, we're in the bottom 3 in the National Hockey League. There's no doubt about it.
Right, yeah.
Part of that's by design. Part of that's by design because they want to play up tempo. They want to push off.
That too, yes.
They're fine with that. They're okay with giving up chances because they want to score some goals.
Yes, and we mentioned the next year is probably going to try to mesh the two styles. Yeah.
They're probably going to, continue. They're going to continue to want to play up ice, play offensive, be aggressive, but also, take less risks, be more calculated, try and defend better. So I get that. I think that absolutely, you'd be foolish to suggest that it doesn't factor in to his play.
Right.
But still, 904 save percentage and a 340 goals against average is not great by any means. But Jake, with those numbers, this guy's got a winning record.
He does have a winning record. Yes.
Yeah, he's got a winning record. So, like, it's an interesting question because you can make a case with that kind of a record and how he's been playing. It's not been great, but he's been good enough on a lot of nights. Like the last game against the Red Wings, was he great? No. But he was good enough, wasn't he? He was good enough to win.
4 goals is never great from especially your starter.
Yeah, but I mean, he was still one of the 3 stars, because he faced 38 shots. He's faced a lot of shots this year, and that's evident by his goals against average. Because I've always said, like, goals against average is more of an indicator of how many shots you're facing. Right. Because a 920 save percentage with a 185 goals against average is different than a 920 save percentage with 285 goals against average.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's what that indicates more than anything to me is, Jesus, this dude faces a hell of a lot of shots.
That just reminds me of the plus minus argument that I recently heard, where it's like where plus minus is like a gateway into more like advanced stats. Is that fair to say?
No, I would say 100%. It's to me, I don't really think goals against average is a goaltender stat, because you can have a 900 save percentage, Jake, and have a 2 goals against average. You play 10 games in a row, you give up 2 goals in every game, but you're only facing 20 shots. So you're stopping 18 to 20, 18 to 20, 18 to 20. But so your goals against averages looks really good. It's 2, but your save percentage is only 90. So it's not like you're like truly playing great, that, obviously that's an extreme example, but that's just to put it into perspective.
The most simple round numbers you can add into that.
Exactly. The most simple numbers I can come up with to make it easy to comprehend. It is a very flawed stat. To me, it's more indicative of the defense. Maybe not the defense in front of you, but just how many shots you're facing. But at the end of the day, he's still a career 912, which is decent. And his, but also his career goals against average is 293. So that shows you the last 2 years. He's only been in the league for 3 years now. And it's been a lot of shortened time, short season, finally a full season, but even then he missed a little bit of time. And he's got bad defense in front of him. 2 of his 3 years in the National Hockey League, Jake, he's had a bad defense in front of him.
Yeah.
His first year, they were great. And as a result, he was unbelievable. And they're not going to return to that next year. But even if they can just be middle of the pack, I think you'll see him return to being a solid goalie.
He can return to form for sure. They have 9 games left. So the way the schedule pans out is they host Montreal tomorrow, which you would think you can win that. especially with the fact that they don't have Jake Allen anymore.
Yeah,
which is really, really unfortunate for Jake.
Yeah, it is. And I feel for that guy. I'm not sure if Carey Price is going to be back for that game, but he's coming back soon.
Carey he could.
I think
is wild.
I think he'll be back towards the tail end of this. I think he might be out for like maybe another week, but he's coming back before the end of the season.
Yes, he's going to get into a couple of games to finish,
which would be awesome. They need to make his first game back a home game.
Yes, they do.
But so Montreal, man, like they've been bad this year. But under St. Louis, they've been a 500.
They've been so much better under Marty St. Louis than they were under Don Ducharme.
Yeah, Don Ducharme.
Can you imagine? Like, think about what Cole Caulfield would have looked like this year if they started the year with Marty St. Louis.
I agree with what Steve Dangle said. I'm not trying to sound too harsh, but he should be fired again.
Right, exactly.
Like, good God. It's unbelievable. This guy might finish with over 20 goals, and he didn't score his second goal of the season until like mid-February.
Exactly. His first goal came in like November, and then he was just so cold.
Mm-hmm. He was cold Caulfield.
He was cold Caulfield. They host Montreal. Excuse me. 2 days later, they go really late California road trip.
Oh, okay.
So they're playing the Kings first, and then it's a back-to-back between the Kings and the Ducks.
Mm-hmm.
The Kings is at 10:30 Eastern, and the Ducks is at 8:30 Eastern.
Okay.
On Sunday.
Okay, so that's just an earlier start. So that's a 5:30 start.
Yeah, which
I mean, you see those
for Sunday, that's kind of a weird start.
Because usually Sunday's like 6.
Couple of matinees, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway.
And then on next Tuesday, they're in San Jose. Get a couple days off to come home. They play Ottawa. The Sunday after that, they host Edmonton in the afternoon. Oh boy. Mm-hmm. A couple days after that, they're in Tampa. Take a day off, come home to play Tampa, and then go to Pittsburgh to finish.
Alrighty. So that is a brutal schedule. Yeah. I hope that they can win a decent amount of games so they can finish either 500 or above 500.
2, 3, 4. If they can take 4 of them.
Yeah, I was going to say 4, I think is the magic number.
Obviously, you should take Montreal. If you can take Anaheim and the Sharks, and then if you can take the Senators.
Here's the thing, Jake. If you were to take...
Because those are the teams that are with you below the playoff line.
Yes. If you could take those 4 games, or just any of these 4 games.
If you can steal one from one that's above the playoff line, please.
Yeah. If you could just take 4 games, though, you're finishing either at 500 because you'd finish 38, 38, and 6, or if you lose some of those games in overtime, then you finish with a winning record.
Mm-hmm.
So, here's the thing: if they were to finish 38, 38, and 6, I think that's a successful season in my books, considering my expectations at the beginning of the year.
Considering, yes, what we both thought they were gonna look like. Especially,
I thought they were a 32-33 win team.
I mean, they're that right now.
Yeah, they're at 34 with 9 games left. So, feel good about it.
Already exceeded your expectations, eh?
Yeah. And it's not just, record. It's also just
it's Patty coming back into form.
Yeah.
It's,
so many different things looked a lot better than I thought that they would.
Yeah, it's the rookies looking great right off the bat. Guys like Justin Danforth and Greg Hoffman when he was here, and Max when we had him. Obviously Max didn't pan out as much as we wanted him to, but when he was in, he was good.
Mm-hmm. That's another guy. Reschuk is another prospect for this team that I'm excited about. It'll take a little bit longer to develop, but we got him in the Domi deal, and he's another defenseman that they could use.
Oh yeah. So take 4. Take the ones out from below the playoff line. Obviously Montreal tomorrow, and then if you can steal one from Tampa, Pittsburgh, or LA.
Yeah. If you could steal any one of those,
or Edmonton.
If you had to steal one of them.
Any of them. Just take one, and
right.
That'd be fun.
If you could choose, like if they had to steal one, which one would you take?
Obviously, Pittsburgh, because fuck the Penguins.
Is that home or road?
That's in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I would pick that game as well. That's the thing.
And it's the last game of the season.
Yeah, I want them to win that game. And I'm not sure because the Penguins have made the playoffs. So I don't know what their lineup's going to look like that night. It'll depend on kind of, if they're racing to face this team or that team. I'm not sure where the standings are going to stand for that, but
how many players they're going to rest.
Players,
yeah. How many they're going to rest, because we know they're probably going to rest guys like Sid, guys like Gino, maybe Carter because he's older.
Yeah, we don't know. They may play a backup, whatever. I don't care who they rest. I don't care if they ice the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins.
Exactly.
We gotta end the streak in Pittsburgh, even if it's not them at 100%, trying their 100% best, caring about the game. You gotta end that streak. Right. And you have to, we talk about culture. You got to instill a belief that they could go into PPG Paints Arena and win a hockey game.
Right.
So that's what I'm looking for. I don't care about record anymore. They could go 1-8 the rest of the season. If they win that one against the Penguins on the road, I'll be okay with that, because that's important.
We really talk about culture and growing the fan base and growing the rivalries, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What a better way to
see them beat that team.
Beat that team in their barn.
Because they've owned us for so many years, Jake. They got to be able to fix that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, if they right the ship with that, again, that throws more fuel to the fire and makes it more fun to play against them.
Yeah.
Because like we talk about those losing records, and because we've lost to Pittsburgh so much, it's so lopsided that it just doesn't feel fun.
No, it's not fun. There's a reason that Penguins fans don't consider it a rivalry.
Right.
I think it is, but I think it's a small rivalry for them because they have teams they care about way more.
Well,
they care way more about the Flyers and the Capitals and the Rangers and the Islanders, but there's still an element of hatred there. And I'd like to climb that a little bit. I'd like to get to a point where we're hated more. We're never going to be hated more than the Capitals or Flyers or Rangers, but I'd love to be hated more than the Islanders.
Oh yeah. I would absolutely love to just jaw at so many Penguins fans.
And that's the thing. We can't even do that because
we can't even chirp it. Like we can't even have fun and chirp with people. Yeah. Chirp them with Doobie. That's literally all we have.
You're chirping them with Doobie in that playoff series that we lost to them, or chirp them with Doobie in that other playoff series that we lost against them. I love Doobie, but
it's not like we can chirp them for Sid flipping Faravari or anything like that.
No,
because that was.
Remember, we came on this podcast. I defended him. Because the league I defended him because the league sucks at defending their players. He has to defend himself. Yep. And sometimes it involves doing things that, people will look at and cringe at. And granted, what Malkin did, we'll get into that later.
We'll get into Gino.
Same category, but for Sid's had to do it. We talk about the thing with Darian Hatcher. It's bullshit. These players shouldn't have to fucking protect themselves all the goddamn time.
Well, they shouldn't have to resort to things like, McDavid throwing elbows and Sid flipping guys.
Yeah,
and
but you know what?
Having to do that, like you shouldn't have to be that violent to defend yourself.
Exactly. This is more of a league problem than it is a player problem. It's not like these players came into the league with oh, they were dirty in juniors or whatever, and this is something you gotta, worry about. No, they just realized after a while this league's not going to do shit to protect me, so I got to do that on my own.
We brought Austin up plenty just because he's obviously making headlines, and he's a Maple Leaf, and he's one of our favorite players for good reason. He's also so poised in defending himself. He knows how to ride the line and protect himself, but not turtle and not be over the top violent.
Yeah, he made the mistake earlier this year with Dahlin, but generally speaking,
the cross check in the neck. But for the most part, Austin has that poise to protect himself and just grind through it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Elvis playing in all 9 games, man. We'll see what happens.
Best of luck to him. I'll be excited to see how he does. And hopefully he can. You know what? Here's your goal for the last 9 games of the season, Elvis. If you're starting all these games, get up to a 905. You're at a 904 right now. I know it doesn't seem significant.
Take up 1 or 2.
Take up 1 or 2.
Take up 1 or 2 and hope that the boys in front of you can get you to like 5-4-0 or 4-4-1.
Yeah.
So the big reason why I'm wearing my Kraken hat today. Matty Beniers.
I'm excited about this kid. So yeah, he finally signed his ELC.
Beniers signed. He practiced yesterday. He was in. I saw a picture, from Haley Salvian, who we'll get to later as well.
Who's an unbelievable
reporter. Superstar reporter. We love her stuff. And she's fun to chat with on Twitter too.
Yeah.
She posted a picture, I'm surprised it wasn't Allison because, Allison's our Kraken girl now.
Yeah.
But it's because they're in Calgary tonight. Matty's going to play.
I'll have to turn that game on. I'm interested to see how he plays because I'm not sure. Do we know what line they're going to put him on?
Beniers was skating with Eberle. I don't know who his other winger was.
Wow.
Oh, no, wait. He was skating with Donato and I want to say like Schwartz.
Interesting. I'd like to see him just on the top line.
He'll probably be on the first or second line, you would hope. If he plays second line, that's fine. Because we know Seattle's not going to, Seattle's not in this.
Yeah.
So it's going to be nice to see what they have in Matty to finish the year. But I'm really, really excited that all of these guys are, finally happening. And that transitions into Power Up. Owen Power making his debut tonight against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, it's been a discussion among Sabres fans, like for the last couple of days, like if he was going to make his debut tonight or if they're going to wait back until he came back to Buffalo. But I think it's perfect. Make his debut against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Send a message.
He's a Mississauga kid, man. He's
exactly
basically playing at home.
So it's exciting for him. I don't know where they're going to put him in the lineup. I don't know if they want to play him with Dahlin or if they want to put him with Pizik or Samuelson.
This morning, I saw a tweet this morning from Morning Skate or whatever, and from practice yesterday, he's skating with Yoki Haru.
You know what? I don't mind that because maybe he can carry him. It's quite the responsibility to put on a young kid, but
especially to
argue his it's been unbelievably brutal for the Sabres.
I mean, for small stretches over the last couple of years, he looked good with Rasmus. He looked all right with Rasmus.
It's interesting. He looked so good in Chicago, And then I remember when
there was so much promise around Henry.
It's incredible, that trade. Alex Nylander for Henry Jokiharju.
Oh my god!
And then they flipped Alex Nylander for Sam Lafferty. So it's right. A hilarious trade.
I forgot that Nylander. Wow.
Yeah, Nylander's
in Pittsburgh now.
Can't wait until they put him on a line with Sid. But anyway,
he's playing in Wilkes-Barre right now, isn't he?
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. Anyway, with
poor Nylander, man. I feel bad for Alex just because Willie's had so much more success.
Well, and Alex, it's not like he's been put in the best situations. He
hasn't been put in very many good situations.
To Chicago.
Yeah, especially Chicago.
Finally in a good situation with Pittsburgh. He needs to stay there. Mm-hmm. But anyway, with Jokiharju, man, I remember his first season with the Sabres. He looked pretty decent.
Mm-hmm. And he looks fine.
Ever since, they made the coaching change and going into last year, just brutal. He was bad last year. He's even worse this year.
Kind of a shame. I mean, you'll have down years for guys, but that's
the down years, man. He's been down for 2 years now, and the problem is he hasn't been high enough to convince me that that's the norm. I think that the last 2 years have been more indicative than anything for his career. Hopefully, maybe playing with Owen Power can help him, because Owen Power is so good. I believe that he could carry other defensemen and help out their game. So that's why I'm excited about that. But yeah, Jokiharju he's been brutal.
How fun is it that the first and second overall picks can make their debut on the same night?
Yeah, it's awesome. Interesting for the Leafs, that Matthew Nyes didn't go there, and I know they got Abruzzese, but
so
still interesting. Because
little thing on Nyes, him and his agent are going to be talking with Dubas today or tomorrow to discuss if he's going back to school or not.
I think he's going back.
He probably is going to go back to school.
And honestly, why not? I think he's smart enough to know the pressure,
especially playing in Toronto.
Unnecessary pressure of coming to Toronto, and we immediately expect you to be good because we're competing to, finally have success in the playoffs. And frankly, that's just unnecessary pressure to put on a kid who's just coming to the team before the end of the season.
Right. And then, so Power debuts tonight, Beniers debuts tonight, and then we might see our Michigan kids tomorrow.
We will see our Michigan kids tomorrow, and I'm excited for them. Ken Johnson's going to get a point in his first NHL game.
Oh, wait, what was it? I was reading the article this morning about impressive Columbus debuts. And basically, I think they said only 8. It was somewhere between 4 and 6 players or something like that recorded 2 points in their debut. One of them happened to be the vet that's back, Jake Voracek.
Wow.
He had a point, or he had a goal and an assist in his first game. And yeah, if they both, I think they said if they both record a point, that would tie Jackets debuts in a season with guys registering a point, because there was, I want to say, I think the season was 08-09 or something like that, where it was, no, maybe it was more recent. I can't remember. I read it early this morning. Okay.
Fair enough.
But I read it first thing this morning. I've been up since 7:30. It would tie, most debuts in a season with 10.
All right. I found this. Okay. Trey Fix-Wolansky scored a goal in his NHL debut.
Yes.
He was the 6th Columbus Blue Jacket to score a goal in their NHL debut.
Obviously, Rick Nash is in there.
Name the 5 others. Rick Nash is one of them.
Jake Voracek's in there.
Jake Voracek.
Was it Filatov?
Yes.
Okay, it was Filatov.
Now, you got 2 others. I think you'll be able to get one of them. The other one I wouldn't have gotten because, frankly, I thought that they played before. But
I remember from this morning, is one of them David Vaborny?
Yeah. That's the one. I wouldn't have gotten Vaborny. I wouldn't have gotten him.
I love David Vaborny.
Because for some reason, I thought that he played before coming to Columbus.
No, I don't think so.
He had a year or 2 before. So that surprised me.
The other one you should be able to get
because it's relatively recent.
Relatively recent? Oh shit.
When I say relatively recent, I don't mean like last year or so, but like you should be able to get this one.
Oh gosh. Brain short circuiting. Is it Z?
Nope.
No, it's not Z.
Yeah. This player is no longer on the team.
Oh, he's no longer here. Okay. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. I don't know why. Oh, no, wait. No, it wasn't Josh. No. It's Dubois.
It is Dubois.
It's Dubois. Yes. Yeah. I don't know why that took me a minute.
You got all of them. Dang.
I don't know why Dubois took me so long.
Yeah, PLD scored in his NHL debut.
Yes, because I remember reading his quote about it now.
Yeah. Not quite an NHL debut, but Carson Meyer had a goal and an assist in his second game. So
he did, yeah.
Point per game player.
Hey yo. Dude, I know you've been excited for KJ since they picked him.
Look, remember, I was a little skeptical of the pick only because when we picked, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe William Eklund's still on the board.
That too?
But when they fell to 7, I was like, you know what, man? Like, this guy's going to Michigan, so I can trust that they'll develop him too.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's got unbelievable skill. And here's the other thing, Jake. Like, my initial concern was like I was worried he might almost have too much skill for his own good because I felt like that was kind of the case with Sonny Milano to an extent. But part of Sonny's problem was, and I love the guy, but he had Torts holding him back.
That too, yeah. Torts
and that's not going to be an issue.
Looking back,
that's not going to be an issue with Brad Larson.
That's not going to be an issue with Patty and Lars. It hasn't been an issue with Sonny and Dallas Eakins, who's coming back next year.
Which I'm
good for
sure
Dallas. Good for him, getting a little bit more job security.
Yeah, good for him. I'm not sure if I agree with it, but I mean, if they're a young team and they weren't expected to make the playoffs anyway, so perhaps give him another year. But
what I read,
either way, I'm excited for KJ.
What I read is he's skating with. He's probably going to skate with Bork.
He's going to skate with who? I'm sorry.
He's probably going to skate with Ollie.
Okay.
And as far as his, I think it might be Gus and Ollie.
I was going to say I think Gus would be his best fit with Ollie. And then just put Voracek with Roslovic and line and the top line.
Rosie and because Rosie's been fine filling in for Boone so far.
Put Corrali on the third line. Danforth on the fourth line at center. Maybe put Bemer with Corrali. With Robbie.
Maybe. And then that would leave Cole to the wing.
Yeah,
which is weird.
Try it out. Why not? I like Cole, but you know what? I want to reward Bemer. Bemer's been playing well lately.
Yeah. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten a Kepi recently with how well he's played.
Mm-hmm.
But again, overshadowing.
That's the interesting thing that bringing in a guy like KJ does, because now you're thinking about maybe you put Cole on the fourth line and put Danforth to the wing. But
maybe
this is what KJ can do for you.
Mm-hmm. And I think you can say the same about Nick. coming in and maybe shelter Peak a little better. Give him a chance with Gavi, probably. Like you said, you want to see Bean with Z again.
I want to see them try it again because I feel like you're at a point with Bean where you need to accept that this guy's not great defensively. We need to build up his offensive game. Nobody better to pair him with to build up his offensive game than Zach Werenski.
Right. And then that would leave Boki to your third pair.
And I'm fine with that.
And I mean, yeah, you get skill all up and down your defensive pairings.
I wouldn't mind putting, to be honest with you, I'm not going to lie. I think you put Z with Bean. I would put Gavrikov with Blankenburg.
Right. Well, that's what I just said. That's what I led with.
I thought you were saying put Peak with Gavrikov and...
No.
Okay. No, yeah. So, yeah, put Blankenburg with Gav and then put...
Hell, I said that Saturday, dude.
Like, okay, goldfish brain.
No, Blankenburg and Gavrikov would look really fun because obviously Gavi's defense is down. He's been your shutdown guy. His offense has been coming up, which is good to see. And we know that Blankenburg is probably the most defensive-minded defenseman that we'll probably have seen all year.
Yeah, you know what? And his offensive numbers were really good last year at Michigan too. He had 14 goals.
Hey,
it's just amazing for him. But actually, I've been talking all year about how the numbers have been coming down for Vlad defensively.
Yeah,
they're starting to come back up a little bit.
Good.
Wait for this thing to load so I can bring it up, but so yeah, his defense.
Pull this up.
Okay, so 2 years ago was 76, last year 73, not 65, but it was lower this year. Do you know what his offense is at
this year?
So his even strength offense WAR per game. It's at 97%.
Oh, Vladdy boy.
Dude, Vlad's been good. His finishing's pretty decent. Like, it's pretty average. Goals per 60 is average. But his primary assists per 60 going up.
Good.
He's becoming a better passer.
Good.
His PK percentage is pretty high too. So I'm excited about Vlad. After this year, man, lock him up.
Lock him up. Yeah.
You got to extend him, lock him up. He needs to be a part of this defense for a long, long time.
We got Z locked up. We got Bookfist in there for a little while. Get your third guy down. Get your top three solid.
Yeah.
All right. You ready for a hard term?
Yes.
The Professional Women's Hockey Players Association and the Premier Hockey Federation are severing ties.
Yeah, so it was the question of, are they going to join together to make some like conjoined league? That
they met with Gary Bettman to hope for funding and support with that.
Well, because Gary wanted it to happen because they need the support of Gary Bettman.
The Board of Governors for the PWHPA, ultimately it comes down to not trusting the brain trust behind the PHF.
Yes.
This decision delivered on Monday afternoon. The NHL has been made aware of the Players Association's decision. And it's been a long-running thing of just there's not a lot of details from the PHF side that makes sense to the Players Union.
Yes.
The source with knowledge. Yeah, okay. So both the union and the PHF have had visions of what they want a unified league to look like, what they want a singular league to look like, but none of those have matched. There's no clear sense as to what the PHF would want.
Right.
There's a lot of other factors where like sources of the PHF's funding. I know there was a whole thing. I know this is a little bit more, this isn't exactly where you wanted to go with this, but the Yandex sponsorship is a big thing. So John, okay, I'm just going to read this paragraph straight from the article. John Boynton, chairman of the PHF Board of Governors and a team owner who has a stake in like 3 different teams.
Yeah, isn't it like Connecticut and one other team, and then he's got
Riveters as well.
Yeah, and then he's got the one in the Montreal expansion team.
Does he really? Oh boy.
That's what I believe. I'm pretty sure I gathered that from what I read earlier.
He is also a founding shareholder and the chairman of Yandex, which is basically Russia's Google, Uber, Spotify, and Amazon, according to Wired. Oh no, wait. Boynton is part of the BTM partners who currently own the Boston Pride and the Riveters.
Okay.
And then, since this invasion, the NHL obviously severed ties with companies like Yandex and everything else that's been involved in Russia. So that's really what the women's, Players Association is really worried about. They don't want to be involved in that.
Yeah.
Further, there are concerns that affiliations with Yandex jeopardize possible sponsorships. Obviously, there was the whole thing with Dick's Sporting Goods gift cards being compensation.
Jesus.
So it's like, what? Yeah, the overall vision, they just don't match up. Trying to attract top European talent is another big thing. Because not even like PHF, NWHL, doesn't matter what you, and the CWHL, none of them were able to attract top European women's talent.
Right. And there's been a lot of success with women's hockey in Europe.
Basically, what this boils down to is the Women's Association, the union, is clearly stated that their vision is that they want these players to support themselves strictly on being able to play hockey and not work a 9 to 5 on top of that and work late practices and everything like that.
Right.
And they just don't see a solution joining the PHF in a medium term even.
Yeah.
PHF's tried to be the league the players want, and those in charge believe that they're continuing to make positive strides. Anya Packer. They are investing, but it's also like there's no cap floor. Are they going to invest, or are they just going to, throw money? The Isabel Cup final was played on March 29th, and the MVP of the game, Taylor Wenchowski, received, here it is, here's the Dicks thing. Her MVP prize was $1,000 in gift cards from Dick's Sporting Goods, who sponsored the game, instead of a cash bonus.
Interesting.
And then there was the Lake Placid thing with Commissioner Ty Taminia calling it a success despite a lot of players contracting COVID-19. So there's been there was progress, and then there's regress, and there's progress, and there's regress between the PHF and the PHWPA. And the overall consensus was the PA just doesn't see anything stable with the PHF.
Okay.
So they're just going to go in another direction. And if that means, this is from Haley, if two competing leagues emerge out of this and the PA just makes their own,
yeah,
that's kind of okay too.
It is. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong about that.
Having two North American leagues can still grow the sport.
It can absolutely grow your game. I don't think about it just in terms of juniors. There's 3 different leagues for juniors in Canada.
Those in charge of the PA have been adamant that they aren't fighting for just one league to exist. Having 2 leagues would provide an ecosystem for women's hockey in North America. Just like, what you just said, there's multiple leagues for men.
Yeah.
A single league means fewer opportunities to play after college.
I agree with it. I don't think that it's the worst thing to have. Honestly, it might be better for there to be 2 competing, because here's the thing: the PHF's doing fine. They're growing. They're literally getting 2 more.
Yeah, they're getting 2 more teams.
They've grown, in previous years.
You just interviewed Buttes players today.
Yeah.
How fun was that, by the way?
Oh, it's always fun. They're unbelievable to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great interviews, great people. What they do outside of hockey and also what they do with hockey is it's amazing. They deserve so much.
Mm-hmm.
So
all these women deserve.
They deserve more.
Everything.
Anybody
they deserve so much more.
Watch women's hockey.
Support women's hockey.
Support it. Any chance you get ESPN Plus. Watch the games.
Watch the Twitch streams, for God's sake.
Yeah, for real. Doesn't matter the platform you use, as long as you watch games or go to them. Invest your money.
We want one league that actually supports women in a way that they can be full-time hockey players.
Yeah, that would be great.
That's really what it kind of,
it's what it boils down to, man. We just want what's best for these women.
Yeah, and just want to give
unbelievable. They deserve so much better than what they're getting.
So much kudos to Haley for this article, because she knocked that out of the park.
Haley's unbelievable.
Haley's so good. Haley, Allison, all of Sarah Sivian.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of even more. Those are just the 3 that come to mind right away. Emily Kaplan.
Mm-hmm.
So many women out there just as reporters for this sport.
Shayna.
Shayna, yeah.
The Rangers.
Shay with the Rangers. Just so many are killing it with the reporting aspect, and now we need to kill it with supporting the actual women's players.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That Sidney kid that I mentioned in Kepi Keeper.
Pretty good.
He's all right. 1,400.
He's no Justin Danforth, but
no, he is no Justin Danforth. You're right.
He's unbelievable, man.
He played it as.
What I love about it is just the round numbers.
I know.
1,400 and 1,100, and I'm just like, that's just. I wish you would retire, because that's just so visually appealing to me.
Right?
It's just pleasing to the eye.
Just seeing the double zeros.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm just like 1,400 and 1,100. Beautiful.
On the button.
That's God. He's just.
And I mean, he's been a Hall of Famer for over a decade.
He was a Hall of Famer when he first came to the league.
He was a Hall of Famer in Rimouski. He was a Hall of Famer in fucking juniors, dude.
Yeah, he's just incredible, man, and
he's so special.
I'm so glad that injuries didn't take away his greatness.
man,
because we were really robbed like 2 years of him, but I'm glad it wasn't any more than that because he's been healthy ever since, and it's just so good.
Hundreds of games, and I'm surprised the concussions haven't taken their toll as much as they did with guys like Pronger and Lindros and Korea. Korea, the prime example. Like, man, because concussions are such a wild thing.
Also, he's not the same level as those guys, but God, Andre Kasha.
Kasha too. I feel so bad. God,
he got another one.
He's out. I think he's out for the rest of the year too.
That poor dude. He can't catch a freaking break.
He was finally coming back into being Andre Kasha.
And he was so good.
He looked so good with JT and Willie.
That sucks. I feel for him, man, because it comes to a point where you have to question whether or not it's even worth playing next year.
Right. But Sid, 1,400 and 1,100, the legend grows for, Sid no longer a kid.
Yeah, and it's like you said, it's going to continue. Like, I mean, he's got so much of his career left. Already got 3 cups. Might get a 4th.
Already a Conn Smythe, right? Didn't he get a Conn Smythe in one of the back-to-backs?
I'd have to imagine, yeah. Because I know that Gino won the first one in 2009.
I think one was Kessel.
Yeah, one was Kessel.
I think
that'd be wild
if he didn't get one of those back-to-back Conn Smythes.
He'd be like the Steph Curry of hockey if that was the case. I want to say have a Conn Smythe, right?
I want to say he got the 17 one. I want to say he got the one in 2017 and 2016 was Phil's.
1 second, let me read here in his Wikipedia.
As we go, and just gush about Sid more, we'll touch on this. The Department of Player Safety actually did their job for once.
Crosby was the Conn Smythe winner in 2016 when they beat the Sharks.
Okay, so Sid got 16 and Kessel got 17.
Wait, no. Wow, I thought Kessel won in 2017. No, it was Crosby in 2017 too.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
That's weird.
That was Kessel.
I really, yeah.
I mean, he was dynamite in those playoffs, so maybe people just gave him a lot of credit, and that's what we're remembering. But no, he went. So he's got 2 Conn Smythes in his career.
Heyo.
Which just further
it just screams Sidney Crosby.
What a player.
And at this point he's so undervalued despite being as legendary as he is.
He's got over 500 goals already. So he's got 1,400 points right now. 881 of those are even strength.
He doesn't.
He's great on the power play, but even strength, man, he just creates offense. He drives it so well.
Do you think it's just because he doesn't have like a narrative he's chasing anymore? He doesn't have anything else he needs to prove.
I think he's one of those guys that I don't want to say he takes nights off or anything like that, but because
he does all the little things just right.
He's like McKinnon in the fact that they just have another gear that they don't turn to until the playoffs.
That too, because I mean,
I think Crosby was in that gear all the time from the time he was drafted until they won the Stanley Cup, and then a couple years. I think after the concussions, he changed his game a little bit.
He needed to cool down a bit, yeah.
And ever since then, it's been because you think of it, he's got some unbelievable highlight reel plays.
He was such a juggernaut when he was young. And I hate
most of his highlights are from when he was young, and
I hate to use Chris's word. I hate to use CJ's word.
So fundamentally sound as a player, on top of just being an elite talent.
I feel like after using CJ's word, I just jinxed Sid.
What was the word?
Juggernaut.
Oh yeah, great.
I think I just ruined the rest of Sid's season.
He was so good in the early stages of his career, and he's still great now, but I feel like his style has changed so much with it.
It's
so much more subtle.
In terms of just all around play too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's his 200-foot game's unbelievable. His vision is always incredible.
It's always been that. Yeah,
his IQ is top of the league, might be top one.
Could be. I mean, McDavid definitely has. I think McDavid has the faster IQ.
He's got a faster playing style, and he's a better stick handler, and I think he's got a lot of great attributes, but I don't think he has a higher IQ than Crosby.
I didn't say higher. I said faster.
I don't think it's faster either.
You don't think he processes faster than Sid?
No. I think McDavid's really good at just, I'm going to take the puck and I'm going to go.
In terms of just being explosive?
Yes. I think he's just more of an explosive player. Whereas Crosby is the ultimate IQ.
The ultimate supercomputer? Sure.
Yes. The ultimate supercomputer of I'm calculating everything that's going on around me. I know where guys are going to be before they're even going to go there.
We saw that. That's a prime. Oh my gosh. Okay. There was a play I want to say a couple of weeks ago. It was a power play and Jeff Carter came in and swooped in from the corner after a dump in.
Mm-hmm.
That's absolutely one of those kinds of plays.
Yeah, it is.
That's where you see it before you take the ice for the face-off.
Mm-hmm. Ovi's always had the better shot, and I think been more explosive in his prime. McDavid's always been more explosive.
I think both of those guys.
I think Malkin's more explosive.
Yes, he is.
And
he's
Crosby, dude.
Gino's more explosive in more ways than one.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that now? Like I said, the Department of Player Safety actually did their job for once.
Yeah, so I thought this was interesting. So I'm going to bring this up and I'm going to try and get through it as fast as possible, okay? I thought this was really interesting. It's a Reddit post. Now, granted, it's a little dated. It's from 2019. But it details a significant part of Evgeni Malkin's history, okay?
His just punishment history, or
just like in terms of incidents and the results, okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to go through.
Let's address this particular incident first. He basically, he was suspended 4 games for a cross-check against Mark Borowiecki against the Predators the other day.
Yes, directly to the face.
To the face, yeah.
Which is...
We know Gino has a hot temper.
Mm-hmm.
Would you throw that under a Gino temper tantrum?
I don't know if I want to call it a temper tantrum, but...
Or just like a wire snap?
Yeah, I would say more wire snap than anything.
Okay.
The problem is like, so we talk about how sometimes the league doesn't protect players, and as a result, players have to, protect themselves, like Crosby,
right?
Like David, like Matthews. But Malkin's more of a case of sometimes having wire snaps, and he gets away with it because he's an elite player, and the league doesn't discipline him.
Right.
So I think that's an example of kind of the reverse. So let me go through this list. It's a lot longer than I would have expected a list for Evgeni Malkin to be.
Try to make it quick because I don't want to run.
Make it as quick as possible.
I don't want to run like too long.
February 1st, he hits Chris Phillips from behind. No suspension or fine. May 1st of 2008, he slew-foots Paul Mara twice in one sequence of a play. No suspension or fine. March 21st, 2009, headshots Wayne Simmons is fined, and when questioned, he indicated and promised that he would not repeat that kind of hit. January 16th, 2010, hits William Mitchell from behind, giving him a season and playoff-ending concussion. No fine.
Poor Willie.
Now, granted, two-year period here.
Willie Mitchell.
March 12th, 2012, hits Johnny Boychuk from behind.
Okay, so he took a couple years clean.
Yeah.
Cool.
He returned later in the game, no suspension or fine. And then in the playoffs, in April 18th, he blindsided Nick Grossman. He missed the final 2 games of the first round of the concussion, no suspension or fine. Then 2 days later, he blindsided Sean Couturier.
Oh my God.
You're fine. And then January 31st, 2013, he one-handed Mark Stahl in the head while scrumming behind the net. To a stick swing he had against Michael Ruff a few years later. No suspension or fine. He blindsides Dan Girardi in 2014 behind the net. Girardi did return later in the game. No suspension or fine. And then I'll give him credit. 3-year period to February 16th, 2017. High hit on Blake Wheeler. Wheeler returned. No suspension or fine. He clipped Corey Crawford in the head while he was going for the puck. Not necessarily a dirty play, but more reckless. Crawford, came back, returned later to the game, but ended up missing portions of that season with vertigo symptoms. We're not sure if related, but no suspension or fine. January 18th, he sacked Dustin Brown with his stick. He was fined $5,000 by the National Hockey League. No suspension. 2018, November 7th, he hit TJ Oshie with a headshot. He returned in the game, no suspension or fine. And then, of course, his first suspension came in February 11th, 2019, when he one-handed Michael Raffle with his stick. I'm not sure how much has happened since, because, like I said, that was from 2019.
Right.
But that highlights a very significant part of his career in the early stages.
So now, count this for me. How many incidents, how many suspensions, how many fines?
According to this, before this one, if we're including this one, okay, what just happened.
Go ahead and include this one.
2 suspensions in 15 occurrences.
And how many fines?
Did he get fined for this?
I don't think so. I think he just got the suspension.
Then I think 1 fine.
1 fine, 2 suspensions, 15 times.
Yeah. And that might be,
and that's just what's recorded, people.
Yeah.
That's just what's been recorded by the league.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are the notable situations that have been somewhat controversial. Now, it's not to say that all of these should have been suspensions or fines, whatever, but there is a little bit of a history here.
Gino's a smart player. He shouldn't have a player.
But some players, we talk about Brad Marchand's at a point in his career where he knows the line.
Mm-hmm.
He pisses everybody off because he's so close to it, but he doesn't cross it.
He can skirt that line. Tom Wilson still crosses that line.
Mm-hmm. But
Gino doesn't have to cross this line.
No, and I don't think he's crossed it too often, but he's a lot closer to the line, similar to Marchand and Wilson, than I think some people realize.
Yes. Because everybody looks at his skilled plays.
I think he's at a point in his career where, just based on his size and the fact that players are aware of this, there has been a pattern now. I don't think he has to do it in order to protect himself.
No. Absolutely.
I think he's at a point where he should be fine in that regard. And that's ultimately all I'm going to say on that.
I think that in terms of this particular incident, it's definitely warranted.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it was warranted.
I think he cross-checked a dude in the face.
He was just talking about Mark Borowiecki, as always, toughest guy ever, taking it like a champ.
I fucking love Boro.
They're a great guy.
Wouldn't you want to meet him and just get a beer?
Yeah, nice guy, locker room guy, tough as nails.
Looks like a hockey player. I mean, got one of the best hockey smiles. Suffered through the Melnick interview.
Mm-hmm.
Survived the Melnick interview. And just seems like a general all-around good dude.
Right.
But yeah, Gino doesn't need to play like this.
I don't think he does.
No, especially because I want to come back to that stick swing from 2019.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it didn't connect doesn't matter.
Yes, it's the
and the fact that Raffle dove doesn't matter either.
Yeah,
because we know he dove. He got called for embellishment for that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It doesn't matter. Gino, buddy, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to do this kind of shit. You're too good for this.
Oh.
Your all-time famous quote is "I am score."
Yeah.
Go be that.
I am stick swing.
Yeah. Go be score. Gino, buddy, come on. Oh man. Anyway, yeah, glad we touched on that. Dryden McKay for Minnesota State. Boo, wins the Hobey Baker. Good for him. Yeah. Surprised he didn't get a lot of love from NHL teams in terms of.
I'm not, and I'm going to get through this as quick as possible because I know we got to wrap up on time. But let me unreal college career, and congratulations on winning the Hobey Baker.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, and I'll go through his stats real quick. 140 career games played, 100. Is that correct? I'm not sure those stats are correct. Because I'm looking, I have 140.
What are you looking at? What's the website?
I copied this from earlier, and then I put it 140 career games played, 118, 42, and 4. And now I'm like, that can't possibly be right.
What? That's
I don't know what happened there. Anyways, whatever. 140 career games played. He has a career .932 save percentage. I know that's right. A career goals against average of 146. I know that's right. And a .732 win percentage. I know that's
146.
He's the first goalie to win Hobey Baker since Ryan Miller did it with a .950 save percentage and a 132 goals against average in 40 games in 2001 with Michigan State. But here's the difference. Ryan Miller was a 5th round pick, so he was younger.
Right.
And there was, even though he wasn't a high pick, there was a sense that he could develop and he could be a North American pro goaltender.
Yes, and he turned into a star.
Yeah, and he had the size too and everything. Dryden McKay is 5'11". He's 174 pounds. He's 24 years old.
Small goalie.
And that's the other thing. He's 24 years old. So he's probably going to have to sign an American League deal or go overseas first. So I'm going to include kind of a comparison here. Do you remember Strauss Mann with Michigan?
No.
He was their goaltender for, I think 2 years ago. Ultimately, he left the program early because the program kind of wanted to go with Eric Bortillo a little bit more.
Right.
He had good
understandable.
Numbers. And he was an older guy. He was an overager, and he left early with the opportunity to play professional, so he could develop earlier in a pro, atmosphere. So his sophomore year, he had a .939 save percentage and a 185 goals against average with 6 shutouts. His junior year, which was cut short, 21 games played, .930 save percentage, 189 goals against average with 5 shutouts. He's 6 feet tall. He's 174 as well. He goes to the SHL. I think that's Skellefteå AIK, if I'm not mistaken. He posted a .914 save percentage and a .219 goals against average with 3 shutouts in 22 games played. So those are good numbers. Now, here's the thing for Strauss. I just told you his numbers in his sophomore year and his junior year. Those are 2 great seasons.
Yeah.
But overager plus smaller guy plus undrafted doesn't equal getting NHL looks because you don't have the roster spots to be able to do it. You keep that more for your guys that you draft or, your Jack Roslovic, guys who are more established already. Those guys typically have to go overseas or play just in the minors on a minor league deal. So they're not a part of the NHL roster against one of the roster spots in order to establish themselves. So because Strauss Mann went overseas and had a pretty decent season in the SHL, he might get some looks from NHL teams now. And that's probably the route that Dryden McKay is going to have to go because he is a smaller guy.
Okay.
And because he's is already 24 years old, teams are going to want to see, can you do this to an extent at a pro level before we commit to having you against one of the, potential
one of the contract spots. Yeah.
Because the maximum amount of goaltenders you can have under contract is 7, I believe, either 6 or 7.
I don't know about goalie specifically. I know your max contracts is 50.
Yes. So in order to have you to have you as one of the 50 players with a contract or one of the 6 or 7, I'm not sure which it is,
as
goaltender spots, you need to be confident that this is a guy who is to some degree a part of your future. And I think that's where the concern is with NHL teams. There's no doubt about it that this guy's a winner. There's no doubt about it that he's got the intangibles. But great college goaltenders don't always translate. The ones who typically do are the younger ones who get drafted, like a Devin Levi, like a Spencer Knight, like a Ryan Miller, who have, who are young and put up those numbers. If you're older and you put up those numbers, it's more so kind of expected.
Fair enough. And a quick congratulations to Denver for winning the whole thing.
Yeah, congratulations to them. They have a really good team, man. I mean, Bobby Brink was unbelievable. He just signed his deal with the Philadelphia
Flyers.
Flyers.
And I really wanted
Corona is a good goaltender in that they got.
I really wanted Bobby Brink to be a draft pick in the Boston Bruins. Just because does that not sound fucking perfect?
Or, with the Columbus Blue Jackets, because he's a hell of a player.
But listen, Bobby Brink of the Boston Bruins.
True.
I just had to say that, and that just explains it.
Yes. And also his name's Bobby.
And his name's Bobby.
Mm-hmm.
And then
anyway, that's congratulations to Denver. Great season. Congratulations to Dryden McKay.
I got 2 words to finish this show off.
Okay.
Chip Butties.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell this. Oh, wait.
I texted you a picture of this thing. So I watched a Blog Brothers video before we started recording this.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, what a chip butty is a sandwich where the filling is either French fries or potato chips. And usually some kind of condiment, whether it's brown sauce or ketchup or mayo or vinegar.
I'm sorry, if you're putting mayo on in between 2 slices of bread with chips, jail.
Dude.
Jail. Immediately jail. I'm sending you to prison.
Apparently it's a British and Irish thing.
Of course, it always comes back to fucking Britain having the worst food on the planet.
What do you mean?
Britain's got, oh my God, they're disgusting.
Dude, I just went to a British themed place with my dad the other day. And I mean, again, this is, technically more of an Irish food item.
Seriously, the Brits wake up in the morning, they're like, it's 9 a.m. time to have 2 slices of bread and baked beans.
But I had a shepherd's pie with my dad, and oh my God, that was some of the best shepherd's pie I think I've ever had. And it was actual shepherd's pie too. It had beef and lamb in it. And I was like, yes.
Never had it before.
Because I remember back up at BG, there's Stone's Throw, which is an Irish tavern. And they have a shepherd's pie on their menu, which is basically just a farmer's pie because obviously it's Bowling Green, Ohio. They can't afford lamb. It's
good old Bowling Green, man.
I do love my alma mater, and it's such a good little city too. But yeah, Chip Butties. I kind of want to try that for. I kind of want to at least just
try it. You could do it like now. Just go grab 2 slices of bread.
I don't have the chips. That's the unfortunate part.
You go out and grab some Lay's, man.
Get a bag of Lay's and just, or like some fries.
Dude, Chip Buddy sounds like something you make in college when you have no money. Time to go grab some potato chips and some 2 slices of bread. I might make that later because I don't have any money.
It sounds like one of those. It sounds like one of those meals you would make when you're baked.
For real, man. Good Lord. No, that's disgusting. Especially if you put you put mayo on that shit. It's already bad enough that you're making it. If you're seriously just grabbing Lay's potato chips and putting it, it's already the saddest thing I've ever seen. You put mayo in that, you were under arrest.
No, me too. Listen, I can agree on the mayonnaise thing because I'm like that's a weird choice for. I get the brown sauce, I get the vinegar.
Yeah, because you get salt and vinegar chips. Like I get that.
If you're doing the French fries version, obviously I understand ketchup.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, okay, if you try the mayo in the fries,
no, jail.
No.
Yeah. Prison. Mayo belongs on hamburgers, and that's it.
Okay.
It belongs on hamburgers and steak subs.
I don't.
Anything else, you're going to jail.
I lost my mind. I watched this video and I was just like, oh my God, this is fucking hilarious. Because Hank and John were losing it, even just at the pronunciation of Butty.
Yeah.
Chip Butty.
So I had my text open in class and you texted me Chip Buddies. And I was like, what the fuck is this kid talking about? I didn't even look it up. I'm like, I genuinely have no clue what the hell this dude's talking about.
Like how you texted me, you were like, hey, I have good news for you.
Yes.
I'm going to take my shit before we start recording.
Yes. Because guess what? We're about to end this podcast and I'm fine.
Hey!
Anyway, NBA playing game tonight. Go Cavs. Beat the Nets. They're probably not gonna because they're injured to hell, but whatever.
Jackets should beat the Canadians tomorrow. We get to see KJ. Get to see some KJ. Mm-hmm. Get to see some blank.
Yep. And hopefully we blank the Canadians.
Let's get hyped for our Wolverines, people.
Yeah, come on, baby. Let's go.
Go try a chip, buddy.
No, fuck that.
Jake Jackets, a podcast for fifth liners and all puckheads around. Follow the guys on Twitter at Snake Garinger, GARRINGER, and at by J Ashdown. And subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen. March on.